In Kenya, some careers still come with an unwritten rule about who they are for. Across the country, a generation of creatives is ignoring this by building careers in fields they were told were never meant for them. This is FlipThe Script, and these are their stories.
This episode was powered by CC Hub in partnership with Africa No Filter.
I have been struggling on and off with my mental health. 2024 was like feeling those symptoms come back, but I thought like I had the skill set to like manage those issues because I'd been going for therapy, I'd been going to the gym, exercising and everything, but even there comes a point like there's only so much that you do. I'm just doing things at my own pace. I did do that to some degree in Nairobi, but I think the fact that I'm near nature, it's just a healthy and more holistic lifestyle. I've never really thought about my persona as QueenArrow, but I think I describe her more as someone who's a bit more confident. In real life, I'm actually a very introverted person. So this is just a more public-facing persona, someone who's willing to take a bit more risk.
Round 2. Fight.
Since my hiatus, it's mostly just to wake up, have breakfast, get ready, go to the office, study or do some work. And then I'm usually back home by 3:30. Then I unwind by watching. If I have the energy, I study a little bit, then I pretty much go to sleep. I think now with age, just experience, just start to realize that my life shouldn't revolve around work, and work shouldn't feel like a curse. It should feel like an avenue to dignity. So I was born here in Nyeri County. I was born in 98, so 27 years old currently. I have 3 siblings, an older brother and 2 younger siblings. There's a very awkward and huge age gap between me and my younger siblings. I'm 10 years older than my younger brother and 13 years older than my younger sister. It's a like a pretty tight bunch. And yes, of course, annoying siblings, but I still love them and everything. My brothers are Millennial and the rest of us are Gen Z. But it's still a bit weird because I think me and my older brother, we're more or less parentified. They're mostly well behaved, but there's some instances like you're just like, oh my God, fucking teenagers, And I'm like, I think about it and like, when did I get to this point? I was weird because, how I'd laugh is weird. I still have a bit of weird laughter. Like I actually go as far as snorting. If it's, if whatever has happened now is frying me and everything. But right now, I just embrace it because I'm just like, it is what it is. I think my quirks are, like a huge like history buff and everything. And I was very well spoken, like especially my English and everything. So people found out weird. Then sometimes when I'm locked in and then I absorb like some random ass information, then everyone just like giggling behind my back, and I'm like, what's so funny? Loving Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, video games. Though like the other kids did like video games, so that wasn't as weird. But like I think mine went like full on fandom and everything. Video games were just that escape because I didn't feel judged for. I didn't feel judged within that like world. I'm just embodying, or I'm just like role playing as the character that I'm, playing as. I discovered gaming when I was like 3. First gaming console cartridge game that had like a different bunch of games, duck shooting among them. Then there these CDs that had like a bunch of different games, like Tappers, Nintendo, Super Mario, and I think there's hockey and basketball games. Like it was just a bunch of like I think 100 of them that were emulated on some CD, and you could play them on some of these old DVDs and with some shitty ass controller over there. But then my dad got us a PS2 back when I was in standard 4. He told like my brother, like if you ask her that she's gonna get us a PS2, my brother did. Then my mom and my brother went to Nairobi, and we actually still have it here, and it's a pink PlayStation 2 and everything. I mean, the color was pretty neat, and I really miss when companies used to take actual risks and put color. Because I remember the McDonald's when I traveled overseas had color, so I'm just like, what happened to this? Why is everything black, gray, etc., etc. And I think the fact that we didn't, it meant like now also our family friends, like my brother's friends, could now come to our house and now play. We didn't have to go to them and play anymore. Yeah, like Nest missed that culture of just sharing games with. So that like the physicality of that era represented that. The first game I recall playing was a cartridge duck shooting game. Back at my parents' old house, like there was just that cartridge I remember in a duck shooting kind of game. So I remember my brother was really into it, and I enjoyed playing it as well. Then I think the state of African families, like your cousins are still more or less your siblings in that kind of context. So my cousin on my mom's side would come a lot to visit us, and I would also go visit him. And I remember he had a computer that had Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tomb Raider. And oh my God, I was in love with Lara Croft. Like, I think there's something that I find very attractive about confident and very intelligent people. So I think that she was like the whole package. And I think what was the icing on the cake was that it was a time that Angelina Jolie was portraying her in the live action movies. So that's what really made me fall in love with video games. And then Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, the fact that we had characters like Kitana, Sonya, Tanya, and then in Street Fighter we had Rose, we had Chun-Li, women who could just hold their own on an equal footing with men. QueenArrow, what inspired the name QueenArrow was my stint in high school. It wasn't a very pleasant time for me, and comic books were really like my escape out of like that kind of mindset or state of mind. So a huge fan of Oliver Queen. His pseudonym is Green Arrow, and at that time there was an American TV series, Arrow, that was running on the CW. I don't really fuck with season 3 onwards, but the first 2 seasons were like really my favorite. Well, I took his last name, Queen, and his pseudonym as Arrow to come up with Queen Arrow. And it's Queen Arrow as one word. I don't know why people spell it as 2 words. The process of embodying Queen Arrow, I think for one, when you guys came in, I think you noticed I didn't have any makeup on, and I just like had my bathrobe. So I think Sylvia is a bit more don't care. Like, I don't really give a fuck about makeup, but Queen Arrow, I feel like I need to put a little bit more well put together. So I went as far as buying makeup, which I don't really enjoy doing, but because I'm just, I don't know if I should say tomboyish, or I just don't feel the need to have makeup on a daily basis. So right now, I need to look a bit more put together, and it gives me that confidence to like step out and do my thing. Career is just more of a vehicle of to express who I don't get to be on other days. In front of like, I'd say family, I have to be a bit more like restrained. as screener, I think I'm a bit more loud about who I am, about what I like, what I don't like, and everything. I started competing in 2017. My first tournament was at the East African Gaming Convention. It was a Mortal Kombat tournament. I found the tournament by literally just Googling on a whim, like, oh, gaming tournaments in Kenya. And then I'm like, oh, shit, we have one that's coming up over Easter. You know, my brother was just at the back cheering me on. Then when I look back at it, you're like,
And what was the result for you?
I got 4th place at the event, so kind of like really sparked my love for competing. I transitioned to Tekken in 2018. I was like more or less a noob at the game. It's in sometime in April, May, June of 2018, that's when like an American esports team, Exit Gaming, were really interested in like sponsoring someone from like just like they didn't do things conventionally. They wanted to give opportunities to lesser seen regions, so they reached out to the founder of the Tekken community here, and they were interested in. They chose me out of everyone else, which was like, why me? But and I like a mass at the game. But they're like, we're just well about supporting players and, growing alongside them. So I actually did my first feature with the BBC Africa. And then like that really got a lot of like traction. And actually, funny enough, the Tekken community in the Ivory Coast like really pushed that interview. There's another previous interview I'd done with some Dutch media house. Again, they pushed that, and so I had a lot. It's just like one of those days I just like randomly log in. Then I see like I don't know, I have a bunch of hundreds of followers. Then I do the BBC interview again. Now more followers, and like even some of the people like I looked up in the Tekken community like overseas, they're now following me and everything. And I'm just like, yo, now I have access to people like who can help me. And then I actually got introduced to a lady called Sherry Jennings. She's a Street Fighter player, and she has this program called the Fight Pass where she helps people from marginalized regions get visas to the US. So she was telling me like, hey, I'll actually help you get a visa to the States if you're actually interested in competing sometime. So eventually in 2022, I don't even know how I was going to get to the States, but I just was like, no. I signed up on the website. Then she was like, Sylvia, you didn't have to go to the website. You could just come to me. But anyway, like she helped me apply for my visa, and she paid for the visa fee, like questions asked and everything. Then in September, that's when I actually managed to get an interview with the US Embassy, and finally secured a visa. Then 2023, Red Bull flies me out to evil Las Vegas. So like it's just like at the time. What I just find interesting, like at the time, I didn't even like see the full picture. Like, I'm still living here in Kenya and everything. I'm not even sure like how things are gonna work out, but things just ended up happening. There was a bit of imposter syndrome, and I kind of felt like I really needed to like prove myself and get better. So people wouldn't assume that I was just chosen because I was a girl. And for me, I've always seen gaming as something that's genderless. It's like for as long as you love the game and you're willing to put in the work, or if you just enjoy video games, no one should shame you for something that you can't exactly help about yourself. And then unfortunately, that experience also just like showed me like the unfortunate side of people I thought I could trust. Yeah, I think it really got bad in 2021, 2022, because, okay, 2 people got suspended from the community because of harassing me, and it actually caused this whole, like, it actually resulted in a disciplinary community being formed to, like, rein in some of the more toxic aspects of the community, and I was appointed as one of the, I'd say, moderators of that. But, like, it didn't necessarily let up. Then it got really bad the moment, like, I signed my partnership with, like, Red Bull. I came into the space, thinking, like, I found my people, I found, people like-minded. individuals. But then now, the one person I got close to, all of us are finding like they're this very toxic person. And then on top of that, like harassment, if not just from him necessarily, but other individuals in the community. I know people like making snide and underhanded remarks about, and I was just like, I just feel like I'm again, this shit is from my childhood is happening again. I'm on the outside looking in. And mind you, I'm not saying this in self-pity, it's just more of like, reflection. But you're just thinking about it at times, you just feel like, yeah, I feel sad. Now, when we have issues like sexism, you find that that now are pervasive in the industry. It's because most tech industries are a male-dominated space, so that thing kind of end up trickling into our space. Kenya is a country whose doesn't have a philosophy that's hinged on people thriving. So we have a hustle culture, mentality, and then people want to be want to be at the forefront. Want to be the first to do it, and it can only be me and me alone. If you can't be me, she can't be anybody else. So you see those kinds of dynamics playing out within gaming and esports industry. I have been struggling on and off with my mental health, but not so much so that it left me debilitated, but still like finding like these physical manifestations of my mental health problems and everything. So depression, anxiety, ADHD, and OCD. And then on top of that, like with a lot of the work that was demanded of me, like traveling, which don't get me wrong, I enjoy traveling, competing, and media features and everything. I was like, giving it 100%. 2024 was like feeling those symptoms come back, but I thought like I had the skill set to like manage those issues because I'd been going for therapy, I'd been going to the gym, exercising and everything, but even there comes a point like there's only so much that we'll do. So end of 24, it was getting really bad, but I had mentioned it to my mom in passing, but 2025 is now the bill plus interest comes through, and I'm not even able to get out of the house to like even do anything. I'm not able to cook. I'm unable to get out of bed and everything. So I just called up my mom and I just told her like this is what's happening. So she came and picked me up from my apartment, and she got me to the hospital and everything. There's a lot to love about Nairobi, but at the same time, there's a lot more to hate about it. I do love the diversity and the fact that it's a melting pot. You meet different people from different backgrounds, people who are Kenyan, people who are foreigners to this country, but maybe have lived here, and people who are just like visitors to the city. So it gives you a lot to think about, and it expands your mind to different stories and different people and how people live their lives. And I think that's one thing I do love about Nairobi, and I think it was instrumental in like opening me up a bit and having more plurality of thought and expression. To some degree, I actually feel relieved. Since the Kenya Kwan's administration took power, this city has fallen further into the doldrums, and it was already a process started by the Jubilee government. But now it's falling further into the depths of hell, thanks to the shenanigans of the Kenya Kwan's administration and the fact that they don't have any vision or philosophy that's actually hinged on people thriving, which again goes back to the very start of this country post-independence. So it's not healthy. It's stepping us further into hustle culture, and where we don't even have, freedom to think, freedom to rest. like, it's all about money, 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 that we are worshipping at the altar of money and capital as if it's Baal or Ashira. And that's not healthy for me. It's not good for my mental health. And I know there is more to life than just hustle, hustle, hustle. Physical exercise is important. People think gamers are just lounging 8 hours a day, but physical exercise actually helps with reducing stress, improving reaction times, and I think generally it helps having something that you do that's outside of your identity as a gamer.
Yeah. So what do you do? What is your exercise routine?
Prior to April 2025, I was actually pretty active in the gym for like an hour or so, like an hour, every 3 days, and so I wanted to keep fit. I wanted to improve on my mental health and reduce my stress levels. Right now I'm just getting back into the swing of things, so I'm just starting with yoga, then I'm building my way. It's been a while since I touched this game. Yeah, the end of season 2, so we're just waiting on like the new patch. Oh my god, I'm at the wall. Bro. No, no, we're not doing that. Shit. I'm sorry, I am locked in right now. I've just been watching stuff on YouTube to like improve on my what do you call it? To improve on my recognition of moves. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself a year from now?
Wow, I honestly have no idea. I think right now I'm just taking it day as it comes, but hopefully a little bit wiser, and hopefully I've since start to some of the projects I have in mind. Like I'm actually we're starting to see good feedback and everything.
They were discouraged, deterred, and dismissed, told it wasn't for them. But here they are anyway, because no career has a gender. Thank you for watching this episode of Flip the Script. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to all 6 episodes. Leave a like and a comment below. And remember that the script is always yours to flip.
This episode was powered by CC Hub in partnership with Africa No Filter.